Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Dark Days. My name is Juan, also known as Lost Knight. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking on the Lord Soul of the Black Gulch. It's kind of our main objective for today, just to wrap it up for this week, is to get through that area, complete that final boss. So we only have one Lord Soul to go. And then we're also gonna see if we get the boss weapon for this Lord Soul just to test it out. We are gonna keep using the Black Knight Ultra Greatsword as much as we can for now, but it's soon going to be time to change it up a bit. So yeah, here we go. Black Gulch. We're going to the Hidden Chamber bonfire, and this little boss run right here, you want to make sure two things. You have some sort of healing item, and you have some sort of poison healing item. Especially if you're not going to be using like a summon or something, because we are going to do this solo. This is quite an easy boss, but I haven't fought him in 5 years or something, so cut me a break. But this is that sniper spot. If you get some fire arrows from Ornifex, you can actually shoot each one of those poison pools from here, and get a really good farm going on for large titanite shards and titanite chunks. So a little secret right there, very helpful. We're gonna have to be running this grind for a minute too once we get there. So all right, let's do this thing. Here we have the Lord Soul of this area, the Rotten. Such a metal design, dude. Just a mound of corpses, just all chained together, wielding a butcher's knife. Even the hands are like body parts that he uses. So this enemy, let's talk a little bit about the strategy for him first, and then the lore, right? So, ooh, damn! I thought I was cooked right there. He is a pretty tough enemy in that he hits very hard, and the timing for his attacks can be a bit deceiving. But you can see we're doing some pretty good damage. Part of the difficulty on this fight is also the boss arena. You can see there's these tar pits with fire, so if you roll in the wrong direction, you can very easily put yourself at a disadvantage. Now, he mainly uses a 3-hit combo or a 4-hit combo and a grab, and one AoE attack that is pretty powerful. It's dark damage, but it hits really hard. The hitboxes are mainly his knife. That's the attack right there. The hitbox on the sword or the butcher's knives he's using is the knife itself, but also his arm. So if you roll too far under it and you're still too close to him, he could actually hit you still. That grab is pretty much an instant kill, the one that we dodged earlier. So yeah, you want to try to not get yourself cornered. It's easier to find him around like some larger area. He's a pretty easy fight though, once you get the timing down, which I'm still trying to get. And you see the hitbox there is like, what even hit me? It's like, what the hell? But damn, okay, we'll second try him for sure. I think I was like nervous. But yeah, he's a pretty easy boss as far as like getting his timing down. Lore-wise, he is the reincarnation of Nito. He has the Great Dead One's soul if you use a bonfire ascetic. So, just how the Lost Sinner had the Witch of Isola's soul, and the Duke's Dear Freya had the Pale Drake soul, this guy has the Great Dead One soul, which is assumed to be Nito. Nito was the first of the dead who, in the lore of Dark Souls, he was the first being to die, meaning when there was disparity created, meaning light and dark, cold, heat, and all that, there was life and death, and Nito was the first of the dead, right? So you can take it as he was the leader of the dead, or he was the first one to die. But his role was kind of to comfort those that died. He was a grave lord, so he was one of those like beings that when creatures died, I guess he would provide some sort of comfort as they entered into that next cycle of life or existence, I guess. So the Rotten, to me, I don't know the lore, this is just kind of my speculation, but I think that because of who this guy is, I mean, he's like an amalgamation of beings put together. Just like Nito was, right? Nito was composed of like multiple skeletons, but he was one individual skeleton, right? So I think the Rotten is the desire for that comfort, for all of these beings that are abandoned and left into the Black Gulch and the gutter and all that. I think that the Rotten is kind of that desire for that being that will comfort, that kind of, they all kind of scrambled together and joined together to form him. That's my speculation. Also because he uses dark magic, so that is very associated with like humanity and the dark soul. And he's composed, it seems, of, ooh, that's a rare attack. He's composed of hollows, just dead hollows that are rotten into his body. Cool boss, cool design. We also see he was the one behind the poison statues. Soul of the Rotten. And this motherfucker drops 47,000 souls, dude. That's insane. So you can see why people farm him and they just keep bonfire ascetic to get his souls again. But yeah, man, that was the Rotten. First try, but just kidding. Okay, so one more Lord Soul down, and we are gonna encounter the Rotten a few more times. We're gonna have to use him to farm some souls at some point because of the soul memory mechanic, which we haven't talked to about yet, but is another load of bullshit when it comes to this game. Because of the soul memory mechanic, I guess Vendrick is not here either. At some point we will be permanently locked out of multiplayer, just because we're not leveling up our character past maybe 120 or 150. But our soul memory is going to be like if we had a level 300 character, millions and millions of souls. So, and this is one of those portals to get to the DLCs. This is the Sunken King DLC, which we will do. We will do the DLCs after we complete the main game first. So, for anybody curious about that, we don't really have a reason to come here right now, but this little altar is, if you don't have the DLC, you can put your sign down here and then it will summon you into the game of someone that does have the DLC, which is cool. But like I said, we will come back here a lot later. We will do the old Iron Kings DLC, the Sunken King, and then the Ivory King. We will definitely be encountering those dudes or doing their DLCs, but that will be once we complete the main game. All right. And returning to the Far Fire. Interestingly, all of the Lord bonfires return you to Majula. That's kind of I wonder if Shanalot over here has something to do with it. And then the Rotten embraces all in his sanctuary for all things unwanted or tossed away, right? So he embraces all in his sanctuary, meaning he is that presence that receives those who are left by others, right? And she keeps telling us to keep going. She says, hey, you have no other choice. You have 3 of the 4. You need 1 more. And you need to find Vendrick. Again, remember, Vendrick, the reason we are seeking him as the bearer of the curse is that we are trying to find a cure for this curse. That is the whole reason that we set out on this journey in the first place. And then we are being, I don't want to say manipulated, but we are being used by the Emerald Herald in a way, for whatever reason, whatever other motives she may have. And I guess you don't get it here. That's probably it. Oh, hey, the Forlorn stuff. Nice. Every time you kill a Forlorn invader, you get one of their armor sets here by Strayed. And then Lingering Dragoncrest Ring, we are going to get this for the weapon buff effect. It extends the duration of your weapon buffs. And then here we have some hexes. Feeble Cursed One. Okay, so we gotta pay a visit to Ornifex, because we do want to get the knife of the Rotten to see if we can expand a little bit on their lore. Because yeah, heavy connections to Nito, heavy connections to the First of the Dead, or the Great Dead One, right? And interestingly too, a character we will meet later seems to have been created by Nito many years ago, which we will encounter them much later, much later, almost one of the penultimate areas of the game. But they actually wield the weapon that you would create using Nito's soul. So there is a heavy connection to him, and it seems that out of all the lords in the previous game, we know the least about him, and it seems like he actually had one of the most important roles, which is quite interesting, you know? We learn a lot about Seath the Pale Drake, we learn a lot about the Witch of Isolith, we definitely know about Gwyn, obviously, and the 4 Kings, but Nito, they don't really talk about him too much. They just say he was the first of the dead, and you find him in the catacombs. He's the only lord. He just fell down the hole. Sorry. Nito's the only lord that you can actually meet before receiving the Lord Vessel. You could join the Great Lord Covenant. So you can actually join Nito. He even embraces the player character as the chosen undead. Just being an undead, right? So he has this interesting thing. And I think it comes from maybe what it's been, the message that's been trying to be conveyed is that death embraces all, right? So it is an all-embracing entity, which is interesting. Not your standard weapon. Who in their right mind would create such a thing? Perhaps it's best not to dwell on how it was likely used in the past. Okay, so yeah, it seems like this is just the butcher's knife, the same one that Mildred uses. The same one that you can get in Demon... Well, not the same one, obviously. Different world, right? But the same one as Demon Soul's butcher knife. I thought it would expand a little more on the Rotten, but I guess it remains a mystery. Okay. But yeah, Nito, probably my favorite in terms of design. He's so fucking heavy metal, dude. Just heavy metal skeleton, you know? It's crazy. Anyways, guys, I think we definitely are gonna try to wrap it up here, and then starting next week, oh dude, this is such a cool design. Different moveset for sure though. I think this one is more like the Demon Souls one, where the Dark Souls one was more like a handheld axe, like he didn't have to put it on his shoulder like that. This one is more like a super heavy weapon. But the moveset is kind of similar though. It remains the same. but yeah, starting next week, we're gonna wrap up that final boss rush, go to the Iron Keep, take care of that Lord Soul over there, encounter one of my favorite bosses, one of the community's least favorite bosses, I guess. Not design wise, but just because they're a very tough boss. And yeah, wrap it up from there. And I think once we get through that area, once we get through or actually, we'll see. Maybe we will change it up starting next week. We'll respec and we'll try to change up the playstyle. Maybe try some of that spell sword build. See what we can do with that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the playthrough. Again, always a pleasure. I hope you guys have been enjoying it, and thanks for following it along if you've been watching it from the start or just been keeping up with the uploads. I do appreciate all the comments and anything that you guys have, any feedback. So yeah, thank you guys. I'm definitely having a great time playing this game, and even though it's bittersweet, it's a good bittersweet. But yeah. Anyways, let's not keep the outro too long. I hope you guys have a great weekend. My name is Juan, also known as The Lost Knight, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode of Dark Days.